Well, I can't finish this scene because of the noise. The assholes around here have to cut their grass more than once a week because they have an obsession. So I'll wait. The background noise is too unpleasant in such a refined video. So I'll show you what I'm actually working on. It should come as no surprise to you that I was a framer for a long time when I was younger. I wasn't always the piddly and pathetic thing that you see now that's been riddled by mental issues and digestive problems. But anyhow, the gold standard for framing saws was this. Maybe it isn't now, but I'm a bit out of the game. I really like the DeWalt's as long as they have the flat bottom aluminum deck. But these things, they're beasts. I mean, you can just pummel these things. We did things to these that you wouldn't even believe and they would still run. And so I picked up one on Craigslist for $10. And the guy was nice enough, he assured me it worked, but it was actually seized up. The thing that was seized up is the blade lock. Here, I'll show you. If you look down in here, there's a little button. And that button goes into the transmission to lock the blade in place so that you can take this 9/16 bolt off. The wonderful thing about these old Milwaukees is that they're extremely user serviceable for guys like me that have effectively zero electricity training. You can take them down to their bones with just a screwdriver and a little bit of common sense, and you can have, well, nowadays in a lot of professions, especially in the corporate environment, you have lock, tag, try and all these safety procedures where if you're not certified to service things like this, you can't. But come on, man. If you have a brain, you can do simple plug swap outs or trigger replacements or any of it. Brush replacement. You should know how to do that stuff. There, the brush is way down in here. I don't really do these types of videos, so I'm not going to bother trying to make it clean. But this, you can just take it out with a straight screwdriver, and the brushes pop out. These things are so rugged that I've actually replaced a brush with just a chunk of graphite, a worn out brush, and I had a piece of graphite that I just stuck in there and it still ran. I'm telling you, it's a beast. Get one. But the adjustment, like the height adjustment and the angle adjustments, by today's standards, we have some mechanisms that, while they may be a little less reliable, they're a little more user-friendly. So they're quirky. You have to get used to it. Okay, let me go on anyhow. What's the problem? I told you the blade lock. Why? Okay, well look. This goes in, and I'll give you a better picture in a moment. I got it to move somewhat. Before it wouldn't even move at all. This goes into the transmission and locks it. Now, watch. I have it clamped down on this side. And now I'll clamp it on this side. And watch what happens. It pops out. It's been dropped, and it must have been a hell of a drop. It dropped, or look at this. I don't know if you can make that out, but there's a little crack in the metal there. It was barely even noticeable on first inspection, but when I took it home and started to grease it up and took it apart, I could see. And that's why the blade, wait, you have to see the blade. I'll show it to you. Yeah, so wonder why they didn't replace this blade. Because it was seized up, you couldn't get it off. I suppose you could have like grabbed it with some pliers or jammed it up somehow, maybe put a screwdriver through it, and then, I don't know. It doesn't matter, I'll replace it with a Diablo and it'll be sharp as shit. Well, okay, so I need to get this to stay back down. And I'm going to use a tripod to give you a better explanation of this, because I've just been rambling. Hear that? Birds chirping? That guy's not cutting the grass, so I'll have to come back to this. I'll catch up with you later. Okay, back you go on your tripod. I'm finally finished with that video, and thank goodness. This, what was it called? The hexagon game. Oh my goodness, did I work on that for a long time. Okay. Now I get to work on my saw. Let me explain. Actually, I think I explained enough before the storm. Oh, man. Good thing I have my safety Nikes on. Let me, instead of explaining, show. Oops. Yeah, that's the transmission. Or a piece of it. Now, see that pin that locks the blade? It's not going in well because this is bent. But it's supposed to go into this little notch here. I think you get the gist. But the frame has been bent up like this to keep the pin from moving back and forth freely. Man, I've seen the Milwaukee saw take quite a thump here and there. See how this is just proud a little bit? I've seen them take quite a beating here and there, but this one must have really taken a fall. Just looking at the wear that's on the case of it, I would guess that it probably did belong to a framer or somebody that was definitely in the construction industry. So I'm going to clamp this part down, and I'm going to do my best to apply a large force here and hopefully hyperextend it enough to not crack the case in the other direction, but to keep it so that the pin is free to move. As for this here, I think I'm going to use it to make a draw knife. I probably won't film that, but I want to make one of those little draw knives. John Heiss has a video where he took an old blade and made a draw knife out of it and wrapped some copper ferrule around the handle, and beautiful. It's a must-see video. Go watch that immediately after you've watched this. But I'm going to make a draw knife just so that I can run out to the woods and wait. I found some shovel handles. I found some old shovel handles in the woods, and the complete story is in another video that you haven't seen yet. But the premise of the video is that I'm going to restore those because it's better than buying new shovels, and just because I have a compulsion to restore things, in case you haven't noticed. But I'm going to use black locust because it's springtime here in Pennsylvania, and the black locust is just a lovely tree, and I'd like to introduce you to it in case you aren't in the eastern United States. So I'm going to make some handles out of black locust for the shovel. Anyhow, okay, I'm rambling. Back to this thing. I think the standard is typically to use a BFW like this for, us guys that we know what we're doing, and the rubber mallet. And before you judge, let he who hasn't done something like this cast the first comment. Oh yeah, forward progress. This is how the West was won, boys and girls. I get him on every video. This guy don't know what he's doing. You shouldn't be doing that on a table saw. You need a workbench. Yeah, well, I don't have one. And to you weirdos out there that fetish-size tools, is that a word? Fetish size? I don't know, I just made it a word. To you people, do you want a tool that works or one that you can sit there and polish and gawk at? Well, I want my saw to work. And it was no beauty from the beginning. Oh yeah. That's the feels, bro. Oh yeah. I'm kind of surprised the BFW technique didn't work though. I thought that'd be the way. And these Harbor crap clamps are loosening with every stroke. You think she's gonna run? What do you think? It's part of my philosophy with tool repair. If it doesn't work or it sticks, just keep pushing it until it eventually wears itself into working. Just keep pushing. No, really, if I can give you a... Whoops, wrong button. If I can really give you a piece of advice with respect to, like, fixing things, because I do fix a lot of power tools despite the unprofessional nature of this video. One of the best pieces of advice I can give you is cleanliness. 90% of tool repair is just cleaning. You take something like this apart and blow all the sawdust out and give it some WD-40 and then compressed air to get all the gunk off. 90% of fixing things is just cleaning. What doesn't fix with cleaning probably isn't worth fixing. With the exception of bearings and such, there are some parts that are just, they're naturally during the course of a mechanical device, they're just consumed. Bearing is one of those things. But a lot of this stuff, this thing is, I'm starting to sound redundant, I'm sure. This thing just has much life in it. It's hard to even put it's hard to even guess at what an approximate lifespan is for one of these things. They can just go on and on and on. And like this one's proving, it can take a fall off of a building with reasonable grace. I managed to get a full 30-second there, which is more than I realistically thought that I would get without cracking the case. Great. Let me take the opportunity to show you something I found on a bike ride. What do you make of that? Well, what you can tell me for certain is that this is flint. What you can't tell me quite certainly is that those are necessarily tool marks. Sure does look that way, but I can't be certain. Anyhow, this is not a native rock to where I live. So, given that I found it deep in the woods, that's an interesting tidbit to find. Look what else I found. "21 of them. 21 on one bike ride. It's fun. I can't help it. It's like Easter egg hunting. I love it. And it's good exercise. I really should just call it quits there, but I'm going to give it a little bit more. Push my luck and maybe I can help crack it some more. Nah, look. I don't know if you can see that, but the crack's opening up. It's too dangerous to proceed. I'll take that as a success. Hopefully I can put this together and make it run. I'll show you a fast motion of putting it together. Now some of you won't know and some of you won't care, but this little slot right here where these two little screws go in, I think they're supposed to be thumb screws. That is to receive what's called a rip guide, and I just so happen to have one here. A rip guide goes into the saw like this, and it functions like a table saw. I mean, come on, what is a circular saw? It's just a table saw that's upside down, or right side up, depending on your bent. A rip guide can make strips and do effectively anything a table saw can. Probably not. It's not as neat, and I always thought they were cumbersome, but I never really, when I was young, I never remember seeing a table saw on site for framing. It was that didn't come in until trim carpentry. If you've never used one, don't start now. Well, normally I would just WD-40 everything and then hit it with the air compressor and it takes all that funk with it. But I can't in good conscience recommend this product, which is continuously declining in quality. So what I will recommend is that you have to be very precise. You take mineral spirits and mineral oil and make a good mix of it. And it does effectively the same thing, minus the aerosol can and that pleasant fish oil smell that WD has. Wait, I'm confused. Ah, there we go. It's hard to keep it in context when you're looking at parts. I'm familiar with the whole, not the parts, the individual pieces. Okay, so once it's sufficiently messy, then we take compressed air and we just spray it all over the neighboring tools and materials. But it really does work. It's beautiful. It will make mechanical parts look new. Oh, this should get on the camera lens. This works. Pro tip, it works best on convex surfaces. Concave surfaces will spray it right back into your face and eyes. Well, I just fingered out all the grease that was in the transmission. You'll excuse me for not including you as part of that experience, but cameras and grease they just don't go very well together. The whole thing was pretty much packed with grease, and I'm sure this is some kind of special grease, which I don't have. I just have the white lithium, and I know I'm probably supposed to find the correct grease, but it's not very rational to spend additional, maybe like $10 on the special grease when it's a $10 saw, right? Anyhow, here's the thing itself. I gave all of this stuff the air compressor treatment. But now it's time to pack some grease in. This is just a drinking straw. I made a video about it. How do you get the grease actually into the drinking straw? Oh, it took me a while to figure this out. You just suck. Man up. I've been a tool mechanic for 35 years and I can tell this guy don't know what the hell he's doing. Yeah, you're right, I don't. I don't know what I'm doing. You shouldn't do this. Hire a certified mechanic. Take it to the dealership. Don't get a guy like me to work on it. Look, I'm even putting this broken gasket back in place. Oh yeah, that'll be great. Look at that. Oh. What do you think, rubber mallet? No? Too soon? Yeah, I was gonna say, those are a bit long. I think these are the ones. Alright, I think that's right. At least it's close enough. Now we put the continuum transfunctioner in that way. But let's pack this full first. I think if some's good, more's better. It was pretty well packed in there when I took it off though. Although I'm not sure how much of it was grease and how much of it was just dirt. Oh, there it is. That sound effect was added for your viewing pleasure. So let's take a look inside. These are the brushes. And I'm no expert by any stretch, but I can tell you in the most rudimentary sense, this is where the brushes go. Okay? And I can tell you what the purpose of them is. It's simply put, it's to complete the circuit. Because they press against this thing here with this little spring, and graphite is highly conductive. Not only is it highly conductive, but it also has a really good resistance to heat, and it's really low friction. So it can run directly against this. Think about having a circuit where this part is connected. There are such a thing as like a flat circuit, but that's a little more complicated. No, actually it's forget that. Just forget about that. Think about the problems inherent to having a circuit where something's always moving. It's going to bind up in no time. So this brilliant little thing solves that problem. It's just running against there all the time, enabling a circuit to complete. And it goes way back in there. I'll give you a close-up. So, do you see that brightly colored little box right there? There's one on each side, and the brushes go through this and come out that on each side of the rotor. When I look at it from a bird's eye, I can see that over time it's worn itself an eccentricity. And what I mean is that you can see that some of the material here is thinner than it is here. And that suggests to me that it's been in operation for a long time. I mean, it would have to be for carbon brushes to wear it down. The reason that I say that is because presumably it came from the factory, machined perfectly symmetrical. But what do I know? Alright, stick it in the hole, Stuart.
Stick it in the hole, Stuart. In the hole.
Hope I'm not forgetting anything. Hate when I do that. Oh yeah. It's like slipping into a warm bath, isn't it? Seems correct. And now, these long things. Does that look right to you? Don't bother answering because you are in my future. Ooh, that doesn't sound right. Whoa. Security bit. Hand tighten. Hand tighten everything. Okay, as I said, there's one on each side, but I already did the other side. You don't need to see the same thing twice. If you're that slow, rewind and watch this one again. Alright, they're both in. And now I'll give it a mild spin. That way it doesn't go from 0 to whatever in instant. It seems as though it's smooth enough. I can plug it in and try it now. I don't have to put the rest of it together because there's no point in proceeding if it doesn't work from here. Alright, hold on to your butts. That seemed normal-ish. No horrible burning smells. She purrs like a kitten. Alright. Okay, the spring. These never look right. They're always battle worn. Connects to there. And it connects to this little hole here first. Seems kind of rinky-tink, doesn't it? It kind of is. They break quite often. The springs are usually an ongoing issue with these saws. You just have to remain diligent. It's not going to be under heavy use here so much. My days of heavy use with one of these things are over. Okay, this little thing holds it in place. And I've heard a rumor that they make a tool that gets these on easier. That was sarcasm. Please do not send me links to Wikipedia pages about this thing or the tool or eBay links to how to purchase one. I don't care. This is probably the only one I even have in the shop that I frequently change. And I think I just got it on. To the more professional among you, this will be painful to watch. Yeah, it all comes out in the wash, right? Oh no! The cardboard applicator. Why didn't you remind me? It's supposed to... no! Oh! Oh! Wow, getting it back off proves to be the difficult part. You know, but the more professional among you, why would you be watching this? That kind of cracks me up. I have this video about installing crown mold, and I always get these people telling me how it's upside down, and that I'm doing something wrong, and it makes me laugh because why are people who are such seasoned, veteran, knowledgeable professionals watching a how-to video on the subject? There we go. You know what? I needed the practice, I'm sure. We are on the home stretch now. It just has to go back on its deck like so. And what's this? Well, that doesn't belong at all. That's to keep you from sticking your finger in there. It's like a beginner bar. That's cute, but I think we can do without it.
That's dangerous.
Oops-a-daisy. There we go. Now if you look there, this little rubber thing goes there, and it just takes up some of the shock from when the guard slams shut. And slam shut it does, often. All that's left is the blade, boys and girls, and then we can give it a test drive. Oh yeah, feels so right. I actually paint my 9/16 wrenches to remind me. It's like the standard. It reminds me that it goes to a Milwaukee saw. That's why it's red. I color code a lot of them actually. Yes, I went through all that work just to fix this little button. And the button makes it lock just like that. Seems to be in working order. Oh yeah, let's give it a test drive. Well, I'm in business. So there it is. I'll show you the model number just in case you care. And that's it for this one. I hope you got a kick out of it. See you guys.